Hello and Happy New Year. Blessings for 2020, everybody. I'm not even sure how to begin this video or what messages are going to be channeled, what are going to come through. All I can say is I hope that you felt the shift on the 21st of January, which was yesterday. I felt that very, very dense heaviness that we had going into January. I felt it shift yesterday, which is wonderful. Thank God, thank Goddess. And this morning when I was walking into work, doing my little morning walking meditation, I really noticed a shift in the vibrational frequencies. I felt this new energy that I've never felt before. I knew that it was new ground, new territory, and it was the first time since the calendar year shifted into this 2020 space that I could really viscerally in my body feel those different vibrations that source, that the angels, that my guides have been talking about since November, December last year, telling me to get prepared for these energy shifts. I just looked around, I was looking at the trees and the sky, and I was like, oh, this is different. There's a change, a big change has happened. There's been a shift. And even though it's unfamiliar frequencies, it's codes that are not something I'm used to feeling, I welcomed it because I have found, I'm sorry, my camera's just, I have my iPad just balancing on a bunch of boxes and cushions, and I'll be amazed if I get through this video without the whole thing toppling, but that's okay. We'll see how we go. Yeah, I found just especially the last week and a half of January, today is the 22nd, very, very tough, very intense, exhaustion, blinding headaches. When I tuned into spirit, it was, you know, lunar codes, solar codes, neutrino codes, all this sacred geometry, light language talk about these energies coming in and saying that our light bodies, our aura, have been going through drastic DNA vortexual shifts and changes, which resulted in me getting unwell, out of balance, just completely run down. I still feel I'm just kind of coming out of that now. Stomach pain, digestive issues. There's that I could feel the energies in my head, in my body. I could feel my molecular structure shifting, changing to accommodate these big changes and big shifts, and it was really intense at times. And I also felt like there was just this, like I was being squashed, like I was being squeezed. Also, again, as within, so without, as above, so below. These internal changes and challenges were being reflected in my outside experience. So I had people around me, family members, I had circumstances that were reflecting that feeling of being squeezed, being squashed, having no privacy, having no boundaries, having no space. So it was a very mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical shift that happened. The angels were not kidding when they said, be prepared for January, because the energies are going to be on a whole new scale of integration. And I really felt that. Like I said, the 21st yesterday was the first time I felt, things start to click into place. I felt lost. There was this spaciness after Christmas, a sense of floating almost like driftwood, and there was reflection on the past. And again, when I tuned into my guides, I was told, recalibration, baby. This is the last chance to look at any of these 3D concepts, these 3D ideas and beliefs that you were transporting with you throughout your life in the last 37 years. I say 37 because the cosmic shifts that I've just spoken of, the planetary mirror of that, it's been 37 years since the planets have been doing the dance they're doing right now. I'm 38, so I was thinking I would have been 1 year, I would have been a year old the last time the astrology is what it is right now, what it has been the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks. So I was thinking, wow, I was probably feeling similar feelings when I was a year old. So it's helpful to combine, the different strands, the different ways of looking at energy, and astrology is one of those ways. So you can say, I'm not an astrologer, but I like to be aware of the planetary cosmic activity, because I do find it can connect sometimes with what's going on. So go back 37 years into your age. Where were you? What were you doing? As I said, I was 1 year old, and it was probably a very stressful time because my mother moved my family, my mom and dad and my brothers, when I was just born. They moved into a whole new house, a new estate, concrete everywhere, builders. Like Mom said, it was a very, very stressful time. She just had a baby. She was breastfeeding. She felt totally displaced. She felt lost. She felt spacey. She had no connection. She was lonely. So in some ways, I was feeling those feelings in the last few weeks. Especially I'd say the last 2 weeks is when I was kind of, I feel I was doing okay. I was coasting up to that point. And I had a lovely Christmas. I hope you had a lovely Christmas too. But the last 2 weeks, it just got fever pitch point. And that manifested in me getting a fever. And as I said, becoming unwell. So just took a time out. I took time off work. I really felt that I needed to do some self-care, get back to myself. I spent time in nature on the beach. I went to the west, to my beautiful Sligo, place I used to live, and spent time with my best friend there in her home, and that was really lovely. And we did a beautiful walk in Union Woods, which is one of my favourite places. You might, if you know my videos, you'll have seen and heard about Union Woods. Just in Collooney there in the beautiful County Sligo. So that was very healing and nourishing. And it was also good to curl up with my best friend and to discuss the energetics of things, as we like to do, because she's also a healer, a life coach. And she said the same, that she found that she was thinking a lot about her 20s. And I was thinking about my 20s as well, which I thought was interesting. And childhood, but mainly my 20s, my early 20s. And I just moved. We had Christmas. Very shortly after, I moved to a different county, to a different place. Moved in with my boyfriend for the first time. And so, you know, there's been a lot going on. There's been a lot of high stressors there, which, you know, has definitely did take its toll. But I feel like I'm finally coming out the other end of that, which is great. So I found, we had this, in the flat was this battered old CD player, which I haven't had for ages. And I happened to go up into the attic and find some CDs that I would have played to death in my 20s. And I put them while we were cleaning the house and moving in and whatever, unpacking. I put on some of those CDs, and of course they reflected a perfect match to my reflecting on my 20s, because that was the music I was listening to. So that was really interesting. And you know, the way music can just trigger your memory, it can really spike very clear sensory experiences from the past. And I was remembering that freedom of my 20s, and also the insecurities and the silly fears that I had that were unfounded, and that with time and experience you learn that, you know, the things that you used to worry about, there was just, I've got lots of layers on here because I'm kind of cold, that were unnecessary, which got me thinking that the things I worry about now will probably be completely unnecessary in 10, 15, 20 years time. And I look back and go, oh, silly you in your 30s worrying about X, Y, Z. So that gave me some comfort. It's been don't get me wrong, the last few weeks have been really dynamic. Like, so much has happened, so many changes. I've achieved an awful lot. There's so many things in my personal life as well that for years I've wanted to achieve that I've achieved. But it was just a big climb. It was like that. It's like you've been climbing and climbing and climbing. And I wonder if you felt this too. And then you're at that, you can just see the peak point, but you're exhausted at that point because you've done like 90% of the climb. But that last 10% is so necessary. And yet, as you ascend up it's exhilarating, but it's also, your resources are spent. You know, you're down to your last tank. So that's kind of what I felt up till recently. I just didn't even feel like doing a video. I respected the fact that my body and my heart needed to rest. So yeah, but the blinding headaches were mad. I really felt a lot of it was ascension symptoms, as well as some fatigue and burnout. But I definitely know, I know this, I know energy, I know how it works. And I could feel that there was it was like new thought forms, new vibrations, new concepts. 5D, this was all 5D, new, fresh energy that we have not integrated in these lifetimes, in this timeline yet. That was coming into my consciousness, and that was an adjustment. I could feel my chakras having to expand. I could feel my DNA. I could feel the cells of my body having to adjust to that, and having to process and integrate and acclimatize. Yes, I would say January 2020 is acclimatization. It's adaptation. It's transformation, yes. And it's all for the benefit of you. It's all for your own higher consciousness to become more concrete in your body. And the key thing for me moving forward, and I felt this today, I was walking home from work through the canal, through the kind of wooded area, and I was thinking acceptance. You know, radical acceptance is so important for us right now. That's what I felt the angels were saying. stop pushing against the waves, these waves of energy coming in, and stop trying to keep everything exactly the way it's been. This 37-year timeline shift is very necessary, and it's part of your evolution. It's part of your soul expansion, and it's bringing us into a lighter time in February and March. When I feel what the angels are saying about February, it's like a breath of fresh air. There's space again in the vibrational field. Our auras are going to accept these expanded energies and settle into it, settle down and find a comfort, a balance level again that simply hasn't been there for some people since December. So if you're like me and you feel these energies before they even hit, before astrologically we're told to feel them, I usually feel things a week before everybody else, a week before the full moon, a week before the new moon, and we do have on the 24th, we have a full moon coming up. I think it's in Aquarius, and that's going to be interesting. There are some challenges with that moon because there's some harsh energies, but there's also a lot of resolution, solution, and acceptance. So if there's something that you've been struggling with accepting in the last few weeks especially, I would say from the next few days onwards, you're going to feel that ease. If you're not feeling ease right now, today's the 22nd. Notice how you move through the full moon energies on the 24th, how that ease is being offered to you in the form of acceptance, in the form of awareness, understanding that there are certain mysteries in life, certain mysteries of why things happen to us, why somebody hurt us, why we were betrayed, that the only closure we're going to get is when we give ourselves the closure. So there are times in life you're not going to get the closure that you seek. There's times in life you have to give yourself that closure and say, the closure is that, that person left me high and dry. That's my closure. That's the answer. Sometimes no answer is an answer. And there's something about the energy right now that's teaching us to I'm getting the word surrender, but I feel like it's a 5D version of the 3D surrender. So it's a deep consciousness of this thing happened and I'm okay. This experience was painful, and yet here I am. I'm okay. It's about bringing it into a neutral space in your energy field. No longer having that intense charge and reaction to that experience and to the people involved in that experience. And understanding that the people who caused you that betrayal or hurt or rejection, it's actually a blessing in disguise. That's what I'm getting really strong. That those energies, those soul groups were not for you. That those souls we're coming from a place of unconsciousness, from 3D consciousness. And you put a 5D consciousness with a 3D consciousness, and it's a difficult harmonic convergence there. It's difficult for those energies to converge because they are different. They resonate on different frequencies. It's like two different radio stations. You know, you've got one radio station at one number, you've got another at another. They're different frequencies. They're not the same band length or wavelength. And when we accept that, okay, that person's on a different wavelength to me, I need to continue down the 5D wavelength and be attracted and magnetize my tribe, people who do resonate with where my consciousness is coming at. That will give you comfort, and it is true, because you will be attracted to people who are of the same lineage, the same vibration, the same understandings. Every so often, life will throw other vibrations in the mix to help you expand and help you grow. And that's a wonderful thing, because you wouldn't be the expanded, understanding, compassionate soul that you are right now if those challenges had not been present. However, don't be running after people who don't get you. Don't waste your time talking and explaining and defending yourself to people or family or friends who just don't understand your way of being in the world, because they're just words to them, and you're wasting precious focus, and you're wasting your time, your purpose in a direction that is a different vibrational frequency to you. So your job is to get back to you and get back to what you want, and to focus and say, okay, we're coming at the end of January now, going into February, what is it that excites me right now? This is the advice for moving forward into February. Follow your path of blissful excitement, of joy, of peace. What brings me peace? You know, try it on. This weekend, visiting my friend, visiting a family member, or just having a weekend to myself gives me the most peace right now. That's what I'm going to do. That's where my focus is. Let everybody else focus on their peace and their version of their peace, and what brings them joy in their heart and what brings them the calmness that peace brings will be different to yours, and that's okay. Some people find sitting at home alone very, very uncomfortable. Some people absolutely love being at home alone. Some people find spinning their wheels and go and being real busy is wonderfully exciting and brings them great joy, and they're happiest when that dynamic energy is spinning. Other people find that exhausting. It doesn't matter. There is no right or wrong way to do this. There's no right or wrong way to do life. All of it. Even if you choose to go down what society calls a black hole, it's not wrong. It's all exploring, it's all creativity, and it's all part of expression of the divine. It's all part of the source energy expressing itself in a physical body and choosing to explore this. Your job is to get clear on what you prefer. So if you prefer a peaceful time, a time of calm, a time of those inner heart pleasures of feeling connected to life, feeling connected to nature, to your loved ones, it's your focus, it's your decision if you want to experience life that way, to set up those experiences and to step into those experiences. So that's where I've been focused now. Anyone who has been hard work for me to connect to, I'm not clinging to those ideas anymore. I'm not clinging to people in my life who no longer value my energy, or if there's no exchange happening, if you feel it's a one-way street, just let it go. Just take that lovely deep breath of fresh air that will come with calendar spring in February. In Ireland, we have our spring on the 1st of February. It's St. Brigid's Day, so that's when we technically say it's spring. I know it's different in different places, and I'll take that. It may be freezing cold outside, grey, wet, rainy, icy, like we had frost and everything. We've had some really cold the last while. It doesn't matter. Spring, I love that word. I love the energy, and I'll take that and run with it, and it'll get me through, you know, the dark, cold, grey days of winter. So saying to yourself, let the spring clean out people in my life. Let the culling begin, you know. What's dead wood, let it be chopped away and let it drift on down the river, because where we're headed into these 2020 clear vision energies, there's just no room for baggage. There's no room for unreciprocated relationships. So I hope that this resonates for you, and if not, if you're having a great time, well, listen, cheers to you. You know, I'm delighted for you, and hats off to you. Anyone I spoke to, any of my healer friends, have noted that there has been specific themes, like I said, and I felt today that there was a shift, and that acceptance is part of that. I'm not trying too hard. That's a big one. Don't try too hard. When you try hard, you die hard. I think it's Kanye West who said that, and it's very, very true. Bringing things back into balance and just letting the energies that come to you, what's right for you, come to you. And just lots of rest, lots of water, lots of nature. Self-care is the name of the game right now. Recover, rejuvenate, enjoy. Recover, rejuvenate, enjoy. You will be feeling the fire of the new passions coming in and what you need to do and what you need to get done. But this is not a time to hurry. This is not a time to be all jacked up and rushing and pushing. No, this is a time of surrender. It's a time of being receptive. This is a yin energy. So my time is up here. If you've stayed with me this long, thank you so much. Sending you wonderful February spring blessings. Love to you.